Hey Cuonzo, hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
You know, Auburn now is, ranked number one in the country, had that, huge win over, Kentucky over the weekend. Just what has stood out to you on film about what makes this team so special?
They can they score the ball, and they have an elite level scoring. Jabari at 6'10", can make shots, can put the ball on the floor. One or two dribble pull-ups going right or left. Kessler is an elite level shot blocker. I think Katie Johnson brings a tremendous amount of energy and toughness to him. I enjoy watching him play. I like his energy, his enthusiasm. Flanagan, you're talking 6'6", elite level wing scorer, who in my opinion really improved when he had to play some point for him a year ago. So that makes him a different level player. Just a lot of weapons. And Green, the transfer from Eastern Kentucky, talented point guard, is tough. Just comes off the bench. I think he's still leading them in scoring. So a lot of weapons. I think they're one of the few teams. I think they could play 10 at a high level. I mean, 10 and never skip a beat. And I guess that's one of the reasons why they're number one in the country. And I think Bruce has done a good job putting those guys in position to be successful.
And you mentioned Jabari Smith. I mean, being a guy who's, 6'10" and can shoot it, as smooth and effortlessly as he does, how rare is that, and what kind of challenges that present in preparing for the game?
I'm not sure rare. I mean, I think barring injury, he's one or two when you're talking draft prospects. And I'm not an NBA scout, but I mean, guys like that don't come along often. We had one in Michael Porter Jr. We're talking about an elite level guy that can shoot and make shots, shoot shots over you. I mean, so I'm not sure if it's rare nowadays, because nowadays you see a lot of guys between 6'8" and 7 feet can do some of those things. But he's definitely a gifted talent.
Ben?
Cuonzo, you've talked a lot lately about driving to the basket. When you have as nice a shooting night from the outside as you had the other day, is there some temptation there, or what's that balance that you want it to continue to look like offensively?
I'll keep playing the game. And the other night, I thought we should have been to the free throw line more. But again, we're trying to move forward. That was a physical game on both sides of the ball. No, I wouldn't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. Play the basketball game. Open shots, present themselves, shoot them, drive the ball.
Dave?
Hey, Cuonzo, back to Auburn. Is it harder to go smaller against them, because not just Smith, I know he shoots a lot of threes, but because of Kessler, does that change who you are, or do you have to stick with your strengths?
Not at all. Not at all. We're playing good basketball. We've come up short in some games, but our numbers have really improved offensively and defensively. Not at all, because they have to guard us. We have to guard. That's what this game is about. Your strengths and your will. You impose your will. They don't take those two bigs out and go small. I mean, they play their bigs and they play to their strengths, and we'll do the same.
Mitch?
Yeah, Cuonzo, you mentioned Auburn, or Kessler being an elite level rim protector. I guess, how do you go about attacking this Auburn defense?
Just a talented team. You spread them out, make them play. But at the end of the day, it's a game of basketball. I mean, if he's around the rim blocking shots, and that means we're not making perimeter shots. That means Kobe and Trevor are not putting pressure on the perimeter. You pull him out, you make him guard on the perimeter, force him to make plays. But if he's allowed to sit around the rim, then he's going to be the guy he's supposed to be. But you got to force him to move his body and guard different things. And you got to make shots, and then you got to drive them.
Anthony?
Cuonzo, you mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned earlier about, how deep Auburn is. And, do you think there's anything more difficult about preparing for a team as deep as Auburn, or how do you kind of go about doing that?
Well, I've never, just even as a player, I've never been consumed, because when I was in college, we played guys that played 10, 11 guys. I mean, I've never been consumed with that, because only 5 guys can play the game. And who most teams' best guys are when they're at their best. I mean, you have 10 guys, but the best guys when they're on the floor, when they're playing well together. So you just try to pick apart and identify opportunities to score the ball offensively. Then on the defensive side of the ball, recognize where you can leave a guy, you can help off a guy when to rotate, that sort of thing. So we'll game plan like that. But having 10 plus guys, yeah, they're talented, but we know who the main guys are.
Andrew?
Hey, Coach, just how do you think your team's embracing the opportunity to play the number one team in the country? Any extra juice for this one being the top team?
got the juice right here. But I'm not gonna tell you what's in it, but no, I'm just kidding. But we had shooting this morning, team shooting. So we'll practice here in about another 45 minutes, and then I could probably text you after I call you later. We could meet somewhere later and I'll tell you how they're doing. But other than that, I couldn't tell you right now just because it just came out. But I'm quite sure they'll be excited about it. They're hungry because they feel like they've gotten better as a team. Feel like they had a tough one on Saturday, get away from us. But I think they're hungry to play the game without a doubt.
Lila? Cuonzo, kind of going off of that, as a coach, kind of how do you go about preparing your team to face a number one team in the country, just in terms of guys not getting overexcited and coming out a certain way, and just kind of like managing those emotions going into the game, especially when you have a lot of mid-major transfers who haven't necessarily had an opportunity like this before.
I think emotions and energy, I think all that is great. The enthusiasm, all that's great. And I hope we have a tremendous atmosphere. So our student section, our fans have to understand the magnitude. I mean, really outside of Auburn, anytime we play a game, we need their support every night. But anytime you have a number one team, it presents something different level of excitement and energy, because it's always good to try to knock off the best team in the land. And they've certainly earned that. But trying to, the last thing I ever want to try to do is try to subdue our guys. And I think oftentimes you try to settle guys. That's what you're doing. Let them play, let the atmosphere take care of itself. And whatever happens, because you don't get these opportunities often. When you're the number one team, or you have an opportunity to play the number one team, you have to take everything that goes with it.
Ben?
Cuonzo, as you talk about this group coming together, and we've talked a lot about it going from a group of 10 guys who never played together to the improvements that you're seeing, where are the biggest strides? Where have you seen this group benefit the most from gelling together in recent weeks?
I think some would say on the surface making shots, but I felt even in struggles that we had guys that can make shots. I just think just new guys trying to find that way, going through rough patches, us as a staff getting to know the players, because oftentimes, and I've always said this to our guys, even in June and July, you never know somebody until you hit those rough patches or those storms hit. Now you really realize how rooted are you as a team, because everything is good in June and July. It's comfortable. It's exciting. You're hanging out together a lot, but when you hit those rough patches, and sometimes those rough patches, you don't have a lot of time to adjust. I'm just grateful that our guys, stayed the course, didn't give up, because we've had some tough losses. And sometimes, and my assistant coach, they have to help me, because I never understood. Because, like, for example, one of my assistant coaches said, we got beat by 40 points. He said, Coach, they come back harder. They never give up and quit. Well, I never understood the mentality of quitting and giving up anyways. I can't comprehend that, but I guess I have to deal with that. There's some guys possibly will quit, but they've never done it. They come back the next day with their hard hat on. We try to create a level of energy and environment. And I've never been the guy that gets overly angry after a loss, and it's tough to deal with, but because I know those are the hardest times. And I think that's where you have to show a level of compassion. In my opinion, I felt like that. Let's figure out what we need to do to get better. Let's keep pushing forward. But I just think just going through it, having a high level schedule, one of the better schedules in the country. So you didn't have a lot of time to, okay, let's take a week off and regroup and get back at it. We were in it. And as we were in it, we were learning each other. I think we found out some great things about ourselves, and we continue to grow. And they've helped me become better and just see things. I mean, it's all a part of it.
Dave?
Cuonzo, back to Saturday, other than fouls and free throws, over those last 6 minutes, were there lessons learned there as far as some of the breakdowns you can see now that maybe couldn't see right after the game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I start with me just as a coach, trying to put the guys in position. There's stuff we practice. And I think more than trying to put the guys, trying to get Boogie in positions where he can get the ball across court to get us into an offensive flow. Because once they extended us, and we became an extended deep offense. And now we run an offense instead of 17, 18 feet, 30 feet. And it's hard to run an offense that way. So some of the things we talked about, looked as a staff and as a team to show those guys. And I think more than anything, and I thought Boogie did some good things, but just really helping them get us in position. But also, putting the ball in Kobe's hands on the perimeter in some cases to get him going, to get the ball down here. Now he become more facilitator. I think those are the biggest things. But I think offensively, we had opportunities. But I think we allowed our defense to dictate what took place on the offensive side of the ball.
Anthony?
Cuonzo, Trevin didn't play a whole lot down the stretch against Alabama. You said it was more of a matchup thing. Do you think that this game against Auburn with, Kessler in the paint is going to be more of a game where he'll see more minutes, or what do you think about, how you're going to use Trevin?
He'll be a rotation, and I think he could have been like he went down too. He went down the last game, and not to make any excuses for him. And I kind of put him back in. I knew he went down. He's a trainer. I just lost. Okay, Trev, get out there because the other guy wasn't playing well. It was probably one of those games you probably should have went on, sat him anyway. But he came in and made a 3. But to his credit, he didn't flinch. He went back out there and played the game. Didn't complain about. Didn't make an excuse about it. Got treatment on it. But I mean, nothing. He'll be fine. He'll be good to go. Oh, no question. But he's actually excited about this.
Andrew?
Coach, obviously the women's basketball team knocked off top-ranked South Carolina at home. Just if you asked Coach Pitcher for any tips, and I just wonder, just like, does that add to the believability that really anything's possible at Mizzou Arena?
I'm gonna go down there to office. She probably locked the door on me. Like, man, I know he's coming to ask me some of these questions, but no. But we talk all the time, and I said it was a great win for them, and we're excited to do the same thing. But we always in constant communication, so I'll get a few tips from him.
Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions?